It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. My name is Emily Rodriguez, and you're listening to my podcast, Voz y Vida, where I give you stories about my life, my experience, and I hope that the takeaway is positive always. Today I'm at the water park with my daughter, and I just felt compelled to pull out and record because it is a special day, and I think oftentimes we don't keep in mind how valuable it is to have these children. When you hear stories of women who are not able to conceive children or lost children, it's so easy to get lost into the busy life that we live in, where we fail to realize how special it is to create life and to keep this life alive, because it is challenging, okay? But I read a post today. It says, "It's safe to make motherhood your new priority. Your ambitions will always be there." And it's so comforting to know that I no longer have to feel guilty about wanting to prioritize motherhood over my career or over other things that don't serve as much of a positive feeling and purpose as being a mother. And if I can have a career in being a mother and get paid for it, I would be elated to do so. However, I will continue to be a mother and just devote my whole life to growing this child minute by minute, second by second. I do have to work and provide for her, which is okay as well. And I'm actually going to share a detail with many of you that very, very, very few people know about me. I don't really share my personal life, but I figured if this is a podcast about me, my stories, my life, my voice, the trade-off is only fair that you guys really get to know who I am and what has made me who I am and who I will continue to be. And the detail that is very important to know is that I think it's fair to say that I grew up without a mother. I lost my mother in 2008. I was 10 years old. And as a 10-year-old, I think it's very traumatic to go through that. And the reason why I can't really assimilate with the feeling so much, it's definitely there. The feeling is definitely there of losing a parent. But I think I suppressed that emotion a lot because, it's your mom. It's who you look up to protect you and to guide you and to love you. And my mom did the best that she could. That's the best way I could put it. I can't speak on anything other than that, just because I was so young to even know what it was that she was going through or what she had going on. My mom had 3 children, me and my 2 brothers. And she was 19 when she had me. So imagine, she was so young. I believe she was turning 30 in 2008. So 30 years old with 3 kids as a single mother. I really do not know how she kept us alive, but she did her best. And that's what I can be grateful for. Oftentimes it's a change in perspective that can really reflect in our lives and how our lives continue to go as time goes on. And I no longer want to choose to question everything that she did. Rather, I accept it and I can learn from it to apply it as lessons from her by me being a mother. I lost my mom to a car accident, and thankfully we were living in Reno, Nevada at the time, and my mom was in Las Vegas. And I remember the morning it happened. I was waking up, getting ready for school, and the phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. And I was up probably like at 6 a.m. So my grandmother was not awake. My grandmother has raised us and cared for us since as long as I could remember. God bless that woman. Happy Mother's Day, Grandma. I don't know if you listen to my podcast, but if you do, I love you very much. And I remember seeing who was calling, and it was my mom's mom, which is my grandmother, but I don't want to confuse grandmothers. So my mom's mom was calling, and she would not stop calling. And I remember I was like, that's so weird. And I woke my grandmother up and I was like, hey, my popcorn grandma, which is what we call her, there's a whole backstory to the whole name, is calling. And so she answered. And I remember I just kept going on with getting ready for school. And then a lot of time passed by. And next thing you know, my aunt's at my grandmother's house and we're getting ready to drive to Vegas. Super last minute. I don't remember if they had told me in that moment what had happened, but me being so young, I think I just went with the flow and was like, okay, let's go. And so we get to Las Vegas, and then that's when I knew what was going on. And it was almost as if I was prepared for it. And I don't even understand how a 10-year-old could be prepared for the death of their mother. But I remember everyone was at the hospital. Everybody was at the hospital. And I was kind of like in a weird place. Like I knew what I was there for, but I also felt like I was on vacation. So I can't really explain if I felt sadness, if I felt happiness. I don't know. I was kind of like cut through the middle. And like I mentioned, I wasn't really raised by my mother. So I don't think I had that attachment had it been my grandmother or anybody that I was close with. And I won't get into too much detail, but it's almost as if I knew that she was gone. And I remember they took us into the little prayer rooms that they have in hospitals. And I already knew what they were going to say. And my grandma and my aunt were like, we need to tell you guys something. And I was like, I already know. My mom died. And not a tear was shed. Not a tear came out of my eye because I already knew. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. I could feel it. And I don't know, it's just weird. It's weird. I don't really go back to that event too often. So even as I'm speaking on it, it's shocking. But I remember after that, things changed drastically. I feel like I had to grow up overnight. And that probably accounts for my maturity because I then felt like I had to be mom for my brother because my other brother is from a different dad. So he was with his dad at that time. And I remember I got back to school and my teachers were like crying and hugging me. And I just felt so uncomfortable. Like I did not like the feeling of people having sympathy for me. So from that moment on, I actually lied about my mom's death. When people would ask me, like, oh, where does your mom live? Or where's your mom? And some people may listen to this and be like, yeah, that's what she told me. And I'm sorry, but I lied to you. I don't know why, but ever since I was young, it just kind of stuck with me to lie about the death of my mom. But it just stuck with me up until I would say 6 months ago to a year ago after going through intensive therapy. The longest time I would just lie because I always relate back to the moment I came back from Las Vegas after the news of the death of my mother and people just feeling sorry for me. Like, it happened. I don't want to feel awkward about, oh, my mom died. And then oh, I'm so sorry, or it get awkward or there be a silence. To me, it was just easier to say, my mom lives in Las Vegas. I have told so many people that lie. My mom lives in Las Vegas. My mom lives in Las Vegas. I think subconsciously because the emotion of that death was suppressed, but also because of the sympathy part. And like I mentioned, going through intensive therapy, I brought it up to my therapist and she was like, do you think you're lying to yourself so that you don't feel that emotion of loss? And I was like, whoa, I've never thought of it that way. You know, I've been lying to myself by lying to others because I wasn't ready to deal with that feeling. And it would hit me often, especially the birth of my daughter. That was a very beautiful day, but also a very hard day because it's a moment I would have wanted to share with my mother. And unfortunately, that's just life. Some things just don't go how we want them to go, but my mom has taught me a lot about loving what I have right now. And that is a beautiful, beautiful 6-year-old daughter. Like I mentioned, I've learned a lot from the few years that I did have with my mom. And I feel like now she's with me in a different way, almost as if she's trying to guide me to be the mother that she wanted to be, but she wasn't in the space to do so. And there's a lot of things that I noticed that I'm like, there's no way that she's not here with me. It's Mother's Day. And although I'll never get to experience the true love from a mother, I have had amazing mother figures in my life. My aunt and my grandma who have raised me, took me in as their own. To me, my mom is my grandmother. That is my mom. I don't call her mom. I call her grandma, but she is the closest thing that I have to a mother. And so when I reflect on Mother's Day, I think, wow, there's so many more things that can make a person a mother than them having physical children, right? Because we know mothers who have children and are not the best protectors, providers, leaders, lovers that children do need. But then there's also people who fulfill that role that don't share the same DNA, or maybe they do and they just took on that role. So we appreciate those mothers as well. It actually feels really good to be raw and real with you guys. And I'm excited to share more of me on this platform because I feel like I only show surface and I really just want to show genuine, authentic parts of me. Even though some of those wounds may have not healed, that's what life is. I don't think you're ever fully, truly healed. I think you always have to go back to move forward. And like they would say, learn from what you got and not dwell on it. But look at it as a gift that you could either throw away or you can open up and make it your own. If you have your mom still, just value every second. If it's not a good relationship, try to find a way to make it better. And if it's a lost cause, that's okay. You can find that motherly feeling in someone if you have the opportunity to do so. As I sit here, I am watching my 6-year-old go down the slide. And it's just so crazy to me that I'm a mom. Like I'm 25 years old and I'm a mom. And I'm very grateful that I've gone through the things that I've gone through and I've found strength in the things that have happened because I'm able to sit here and see my daughter and just thank God that I am her mom and that she's my child and that I can grow through pain and turn it into something positive. So right now I would say I'm definitely prioritizing being a mother, because I know I have it in me to turn on ambition at the snap of a finger, but my baby will not be a baby forever. And I just want to sit here and follow what feels right. And that is me being mom. Thank you for tuning in to my podcast, Voz y Vida. This is my voice and my story. I'll chat with you guys soon. Happy Mother's Day.